Yeah, and Bucks, they need to turn it up, man. They I mean, I guess maybe Drew Holiday was the reason they're not playing good defense anymore. But we'll see how it goes.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today for this Wind Up Wednesday edition, our favorite administrator, Robert Abney. Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm well, man. As always, I'm living the dream. Let's talk some hoops. Let's chop it up.
All right, and Captain for Life, has been out in the gym. Will Cotton, Will, good time to talk basketball with you. How are you?
Man, I love it, man. Holiday season, basketball picking up, football picking up, bowl games. I'm ready, baby. Let's get it.
All right. So segment one, all things NBA and heavy on the in-season tournament. Segment two, men's college basketball. And segment three, we'll talk about the women's game. But first, power rankings, gentlemen. I got Minnesota at 1. I got Boston at 2, Orlando at 3, the Bucks at 4, 76ers at 5, OKC at 6, Dallas 7, Pacers 8. I got the Lakers at 9, and the Clippers are rounding in at 10. I doubled up on the sheet, fellas. Sorry about that. But real quick, my thoughts about the 65-game club. Orlando's off to a great start. Boston's an elite team. The Bucks, I need to see more on the defensive end, fellas. They're giving up 118 a night. You're not going to win an NBA title giving up 118 a night. The Cavs have quietly got better and tougher because last year they kind of got punked out. The Pacers are better than I thought, and watching them in the tournament really showed that. And finally, for me in the East, the Pistons are bad. Will, anything going on in the Eastern Conference that caught your eye?
Oh, man, I'm waiting for Jared Allen to pick it up. I know he was injured when the season started. He had a couple good games, but he's kind of been up and down. I'm really waiting to pick it up to see if they can really pick it up, man. And I want to see if the Pacers can sustain the energy that they've going after the tournament. I know they didn't win, but they're a good team, and Halliburton is really pushing them to a different level. So, which is like the dude is really he's real deal. He's real
he's
deal.
He's not turning the ball over. Not turning the ball over.
Nope. He's quietly very good. But everything else looks good for me. And Bucks, they need to turn it up, man. They I mean, I guess maybe Drew Holiday was the reason they're not playing good defense anymore. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, Robert, in the East, what's caught your eye?
Well, I think in the long run, things will play themselves out. I still think Boston is probably going to be the best team in the East. Indiana is playing really well. The Pacers are playing really, really well.
So Indiana's got us quiet. We're like, whoa.
Let's see it. Let's see how sustainable that is.
All right. In the West, Memphis, Ja Morant is close to coming back, and he's going to have a conversation with the boss, Adam Silver. So we'll keep an eye on that. Minnesota is flat getting it done. They are getting it done. OKC, young legs like run, young hearts run free. Candy Staten song from the 70s. Can the Lakers stay healthy to give themselves a chance? The Clippers are getting some quality wins. I'm going to watch them a little more this week. And Robert, Spurs, Wemby's getting a lot of reps. Robert, anything in the West catch your eyes, sir?
Well, the Lakers win in the in-season tournament. I think that mattered to LeBron. I'm not quite sure why, but I do think it mattered to him, and I think that had a little bit to do with their success in the tournament. That being said, there's a lot of old legs on that team, and it's going to be interesting to see how over the course of the season that plays out. It's not uncommon, and we don't typically talk a lot of baseball, but you'll see teams, who are making playoff runs in Major League Baseball. They will take pitchers and they'll have them miss a couple of turns in the rotation, and it's like general soreness when basically what they're doing is they're resting their guys. So we'll see how that plays out, the 65 game club and making sure everybody gets in enough time and all that. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage that.
Cotton Man, anything in the West catch your interest before we talk about the tournament and give it a good old once over?
Two quick things. One, the Nuggets got to pick it up. They are not looking good right now, and that's unacceptable, especially for the defending champ. That's just number one. Number two, a lot of people aren't talking about it, but I think Cat taking the back seat to Ant has changed the whole dynamic of Minnesota and how they're playing and what they're winning. I think understanding he's the better player, and it's a lot easier for him to kind of say, okay, I'll let you go. I'll be Robin, or I'll be whoever the superhero is on the backside. And that is thriving for them. It seems like they have the dynamic that works that they need to win. And it's working. So whatever they're doing, keep doing. Cat, stay humble.
And to add to that, Rudy Gobert, we ain't heard from him other than that little dust up. So that means he's just focused on protecting the rim,
Right.
getting his little rebounds, outlet, and get some crumbs on the back end. So I'm in agreement with you. All right, fans, the in-season tournament is done. The Lakers have won. I believe they got $500,000, and Indiana brought themselves to the limelight. And as Robert said, now people are going to watch them. Okay, and the Lakers weren't shy about that motivation. They wanted that 500,000. And the funny thing is, the people from the basketball tournament said, "Use Zelle." I saw that post. Although the win doesn't mean anything in the standings, LeBron was very big on making history by being the first player. He had mentioned that in news reports. So, some final thoughts from me before I turn it over to the panel. One, I liked it. I'm in the minority, but I liked the in-season tournament. It gave me something to look forward to on Tuesdays and Fridays. And yes, Will, I do agree with you because the Nuggets are costing me a little bit of money here and there on the money line picks. Halliburton said playing in the tournament provided high intensity games that they're going to use in the playoffs. And it reminded me, Will, of when we would play certain teams that weren't in our league, but we would say, all right, this is kind of like a playoff preview. So check the atmosphere, check this, check that, still get the win, of course. But I thought that helped. It's an idea that I think will stick and receive sponsors since that TV deal is up. And Robert, I'm going to start with you. Other than money, what else could the winning team get? Because I don't like an automatic playoff berth in December. Robert, what were your thoughts on the in-season tournament?
Well, first of all, I'm glad those terrible floors, we're not going to see them again until next year. I'm not a fan. That was ridiculous. And I understand why they did it, but I mean, of all the designs you could have chosen, you decided that was the one. I don't know. I think the point that you made about, teams using the tournament as playoff preparation, because you have teams, Indiana hasn't been in that environment for quite a while. Probably none of the guys on their roster have for quite a while. And it's important that those guys get some reps in a situation where the pressure hits a little bit differently, because it matters. It makes a difference when you have to perform in a situation where, the things matter a little bit more. How people react to those situations can change. So I think that in that sense, the tournament is really beneficial for teams like Indiana.
Yeah. And how often do they get the national spotlight? Now, they laid an egg and it happens, but a lot of cameras, a lot of extra, a lot of long intros, a lot of all of the things that happen with the playoffs. So,
well, and they'll learn from that.
And yes, they will.
They'll learn from that.
Cotton Man, you were one of the tell me when it's over people. Now that it's over, it's over. What did you think about the in-season tournament?
Very entertaining, very entertaining. But it was entertaining for very levels. My sons, 7 and 4, they love the court, Robert. I'm with you. I don't like it. They loved it. They were like, look, it's blue. Oh man, it's orange. Da, da, da. So I get it. They like the jerseys. They were looking at it, and I'm just like, yeah, man, like that's basketball, man. So it was a great thing for them. Great competition for us to actually watch as basketball fans who've been watching. I don't need more. I mean, I don't think they, I don't, it didn't seem like they didn't need more. I mean, you saw how hard they were playing for $500,000. Imagine if they got them a million. Imagine if they got them a little more money. I mean, we could get a whole kind of different things. But it was really good. It was entertaining. I like it. Keep it doing. I wouldn't mind if they do another one, maybe like around like February, March. Why not? But good first time, and I'm looking forward to the future. What's going on with that?
All right. And speaking of looking forward, I'm looking forward to segment 2 when we talk some college hoops. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete academic and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, it is that time of year that we get to introduce fans the net rankings. And just like the in-season tournament, Dr. Adams is here to explain all of the reasons why your favorite team won't make the tournament in March. In the 2023-2024 men's basketball season, we are in the 6th year of the net rankings. Okay, so this started 6 years ago, where they made change to the NCAA evaluation tool to increase accuracy and simplify by reducing 5 different metrics that they used to use to just 2. The remaining factors are the TVI, Robert, the Team Value Index, which is a result-based feature that rewards teams for beating quality opponents, particularly away from home, as well as an adjusted net efficiency rating. The adjusted efficiency is a team's net efficiency adjusted for strength of opponent and location, whether it's home, away, or neutral, across all games played. For example, a given efficiency value, net points per 100 possessions, against a stronger opponent rates higher than the same efficiency against a lesser opponent. The net also includes more components than just winning percentage. It takes into account game results, strength of schedule, game location, scoring margin, net offensive and defensive efficiency, and the quality of wins and losses. And it's important to note, and this is for Will, the game date and game order are not included. So don't tell me you're hot at the end of the season, because the first game counts the same as the last game. And in addition, the net will no longer use winning percentage, adjusted winning percentage, and scoring margin. So whether you win by 1 or by 50, it counts the same. Whoa, one more thing, folks. I got to tell you about the quadrant system, and somewhere my tag team partner, Mike Francis, is cursing me out as we speak. The quadrant system is the quality of wins and losses based on game location and opponent's net ranking. A good quad 1 win is if you're home facing a top 30 opponent, if you're on a neutral site taking on a top 50 opponent, or away taking on a top 75 opponent. A good quad 2 win, home 31 through 75, neutral 51 through 100, and away 76 through 135. We'll skip quad 3 and go to quad 4. If you're losing to a team that's from rank 161 through 353 on a home or a neutral or away site, that's not good. So now these losses to the SWAC and the MEAC and the Northeast Conference that your local home team is having, that's going to come back and haunt you, fans. So with that, every week you are going to get the top 10 net rankings, and let's go. Number 1, BYU from the Big 12, Houston from the Big 12, Arizona's 3 from the Pac-12, Purdue, them guards are killing me. Anyway,
Yeah.
Purdue is 4 from the Big 10, Creighton, folks, is 5 from the Big East, Baylor is 6 from the Big 12. Notice we keep saying the Big 12. 7 is Colorado State from the Mountain West. 8 is Marquette from the Big East. 9 is UConn from the Big East. And the 10th ranked team this week, Princeton from the Ivy League. Some quick notes before I jump to Cotton Man. Where is the ACC and the SEC? This always has a way of working itself out for the top teams and those middle-of-the-road conference teams. You're going to get your feelings hurt in March, and that's why they changed the NIT. But I digress. Will, what are your thoughts on this week's net rankings?
The rankings look good. Obviously, Big East guys. So I'm very, very happy that the Big East is very represented. They stay trying to kill us, but we always here and we're always doing well in the tournament. So they can't get rid of us. And I wish NCAA football would kind of use this kind of metrics. I mean, I'm reading some of these metrics and I'm like, why are they using that in football?
Because the NCAA funds itself from the men's basketball tournament and get not $1 from football. Okay, Robert, what do you think about this week's net rankings? And don't use franchises type words.
No, I like it. I think it's much less subjective. The committee is still going to do what they do in the end, but it's a lot less subjective. I also want to look at some of the teams that are kind of lurking around that are not Power 5. You got not only do you have Princeton, but you have Indiana State, you have Florida Atlantic. Not only do you have Colorado State from the Mountain West, but you've got New Mexico. You got James Madison. San Diego State is playing well again. You got Utah
St. John's.
State.
Don't forget St. John's. I got a 4-win streak going. Let's go, baby.
I mean, you got a lot of schools that are playing really well right now, and conference play changes net rankings because you're going to play St. Agnes for the blind and one-legged, and it's going to bring your net ranking down because that's what happens. But right now, you got a lot of schools who have chosen to play pretty good
Marquette. Yes, that's
schedules,
Marquette.
and that will help them down the road. Now, the other thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but these wins and losses can change according to how teams move.
Yes, 100%.
Right?
100%.
So, for example, and this is just, I'm going to pull this one out because I know this one. New Mexico right now is 9-1, and they went to St. Mary's and lost to St. Mary's, and their two guards, Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr., their two guards were out for that game. Neither one of them played, and they got thumped pretty good. But that win, I mean, right now that is I think it's a quad 2.
Yes, that is a.
Right now it's a
Mike's
quad,
cussing us out. He's cussing all of us out.
Right now it's a quad 2 loss, but St. Mary's is gonna move up.
So then, yes, and again, like you always say, Robert, every week, it has a way of cleaning itself up. So We're not worried about them because they're going to be at the top of the Mountain West. We're worried about that 7th, 8th, 9th Big East team or ACC team or SEC team that lost to Gardner Webb early in the season, and they're going to have the problem.
And when you're in your conference, you can't lose to Our Lady of the Perpetually Hopeless at home. You can't do that. You've got to win the games that you are supposed to win.
All right. So with that, fans, in segment 3, we're going to introduce the women's net rankings. Fellas, don't read the script. We're going to add that to another show. And we'll be right back on the Eye Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 3, we're going to shift to the women's tournament, the women's game, the women's net rankings. And one of the things, fans, you'll notice is that the women's game kind of stays chalk, kind of stays to the Power 5, Power 6 conferences. So South Carolina's won. And they're in the SEC. And one of the things I love about South Carolina is Dawn Staley will take a game at South Dakota State and go to South Dakota State. And then South Dakota State ends up winning their conference, and it helps South Carolina out because they played the best of the best. Stanford is 2 in the Pac-12. Utah is 3 in the Pac-12. Texas is 4 in the Big 12. Notre Dame is 5 in the ACC. UCLA is 6 in the Pac-12. Football really messed this stuff up. 7 is Iowa in the Big 10. 8 is Michigan State in the Big 10. 9 is NC State in the ACC. And 10 is Kansas State in the Big 12. Just some quick notes. Again, Pac-12 is kicking butt. And man, football sucks because that's a good women's conference that will no longer exist after this year, strictly because everybody's chasing football money. And the good teams are spread out across the country. So in the women's game, man, it's something. Robert, any thoughts on the women's game this week in terms of the net rankings?
No, I mean, it's as you said, it's a lot more chalk than the men's game for sure. I'm going to have to try and see if I can get out and see Texas and Baylor this year, because both of those are relatively close by and they're both relatively high in the net rankings. And Caitlin Clark, 3,000 points in a career. How about that? That's a lot of buckets, man.
She's the 15th player to reach 3,000 points in the history of the women's game. That's quite a accomplishment. Will, what about you, sir? Any thoughts about the women's net rankings?
Can Juju Watkins get any love at all? Good Lord, dog. Number 6 at USC. She had three straight 30-point games. She's balling, and she's nobody, unless you're like really, really in depth to women's college basketball, no one's talking about her. She is killing, and she is a great, she is good. She is really good. I can't understand why they're not on the rankings.
All right. So I'm going to double up because I forgot to do it in the first segment. But in terms of significant women's streak on the women's side, Texas is on a 10-game winning streak. Texas Tech, 10-game winning streak as of this taping. North Carolina State, 9-game winning streak. UNLV women, 9-game winning streak. And the Washington Huskies, 9-game winning streak. On the men's side, real quick, I did forget that piece. Houston's on a 10-game winning streak. Baylor and Oklahoma are both on 9-game winning streaks. Big 12 basketball is real, folks. Princeton's on a 9-game winning streak. Colorado State's on a 9-game winning streak. And shout out to Longwood and JMU, both on 9-game winning streaks. Had a chance to have a strong adult beverage with JMU legend Darren McClinton. Good shout out to him. Hopefully we can get him on the show. Robert talked about Caitlin Clark. She is awesome right now. And let's give just a little more love to her. Again, 15th player in the history of the women's game to reach 3,000 points. She became the first player in Division I, men's or women's, to have at least 3,000 points, 750 rebounds, and 750 assists. She could very well pass Casey Plum's all-time record this year. And we're talking about from 1981 to 1992, because there are two players pre-NCAA era who scored more points. That was Frances Marion's Pearl Moore, who had 3,884 points with no three-point line. And Kansas's Lynette Woodard, who also played for the Globetrotters, she had 3,649 points, which was, again, totally awesome. Will, as we wrap up, any thoughts, any closing thoughts as we wrap up this week in basketball? Anything you're looking forward to this coming week?
I'm liking it, man. I'm trying to get back into college basketball, watching it again, and it looks like it's getting where it needs to be. So there are a couple of teams that I want to look at, and like Houston's definitely one I want to check out, for sure, and definitely I want to check out USC on the women's side. Those two teams are really excited, and I want to check them out.
Robert, what about you? Anything upcoming this week that you got your eye on?
No, I'm just gonna, pick out whatever. I love this time of year because I will just turn on my Hulu and look at ESPN Plus. I'm like, that one looks interesting, and I love it. I just watch basketball pretty much nonstop. Makes my wife crazy. Because I'll have one game on the TV and I'll have another game on my iPad, but I love it. It's my favorite thing. Caitlin Clark, I don't know if she can get to 3,800. She might be able to get to 3,600. But that's a lot of points. Think about that: 3,884 points,
and no arc, no three-point line.
Right, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
For me, I'm checking out USC's men's basketball because Bronny James hopefully will be back in uniform, and then we can just talk basketball. Like you guys, I am out in gyms more, high school and college games, watching my former players out there, whether they're coaching on the high school or the college level. So I'm just happy getting out. And, of course, our favorite intern, Point 5, is also on the round ball court. So this is just a good time of year. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.